Here.
Councilman Sears.
Here.
Councilman Ullman.
Here.
Councilwoman Velez. Council President DeSena.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance Mayor Peter Calamari, Administrator Mark DiCarlo, CMFO John Corcoran, and Township Clerk Susan Witkowski. General public comment, limit to 5 minutes. Can I have a motion to open the public comment period?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No one is in the audience. Is there anyone on Zoom?
No.
Give me a second. No hands? Motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion, 2024 budget discussion continues. I think we could start on page 37, gentlemen, with the Department of Law prosecutors' salary. If everybody's okay with that? Oh, I'm sorry, I have to do a quick public service announcement for our milling and other things. On Wednesday, March 27th, from 7 a.m. until approximately 3 p.m., the following roadways are scheduled to be milled in preparation to be paved. Wilson Avenue from Manhattan Avenue to Lincoln Place, Lincoln Place from Hoover Avenue to Jackson Avenue, Edison Street from West Place to Jackson Avenue. The paving contractor has posted temporary no parking signs in the area so that all vehicles are off the roadway during the projected work hours. Residents in the area are asked to move their vehicles out of their driveway and onto a neighboring street if they plan to travel to and from their home during the projected work hours. Vehicular traffic will be limited and area residents may need to park outside of the work zone while work is being conducted. The police department will have officers present in the area of the work zone to assist motorists as needed. Attention Zone 1 residents. If your road is being milled, paved on your scheduled bulk pickup day, please leave your debris at the curb and our DPW will pick it up either later in the day or the following day. On Wednesday, March 27th at 1 p.m., the Bergen County Superintendent of Elections will be at the Township of Washington Senior Center to give a demonstration on the new voting machine equipment. The March 27th senior exercise class has been canceled. Playground closures. Due to facility upgrades, the playgrounds at Memorial and Gardner Fields are temporarily closed. Township offices will be closed Friday, March 29th in observance of Good Friday. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Sir, did you want to do the tabled ones earlier on before we get to page 37?
Sure, Mr. DeCarlo, they're on.
Thank you. The first one I have, Ms. Witkowski, unless you have something else, is on page 10, financial services fee, and I'll remind you why it was tabled and why I was going to ask you to move forward with the line when you're there and ready.
Yep, financial services fee 40120132200, 23,000 requested, 23,000 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Thank you. So the 23,000 included the QPA stipend. If you remember, we had a discussion about that. We're removing that, and it'll be requested in the employee salary line. So if we take that 6,000 out and we reduce it to 17,000, that will cover the quote that I had sent you from LVB for the services for the AFS, the budget review, the ADS, and the LoSAP. So 17,000 would cover that.
Thank you. So Mr. DeCarlo has explained the 6,000 QPA has been removed. So we'll reduce line 200 to 17,000. Do I have a motion for the 17,000?
Is that his motion to
Well, he
reduce?
can't make a motion,
Oh.
only we can, so I'm asking for a motion.
That's our new recommendation.
Yeah.
Oh, you knew, that's what I meant.
Yeah, the new mayor's
17,000.
yeah, new administration recommendation, yeah.
Second, from the motion.
I'll second it. Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes.
And Council President DeSena.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. The
I believe the
next
next one is
I have would start with
Department of
Department
Law.
of Law. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Page 15.
Yep, we have Department of Law, other legal services. 40120155260, 60,000 requested, 60,000 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it. Discussion?
Yeah, just one question. I just want to be sure it's clear to me. 155, 260. Just that there is a salary connected with the Department of Law, and there's other billings or additional services, and all of those are captured in this line?
Yes.
Okay,
If it says payroll, that would be exclusively for Mr. Pollard when he bills for litigation purposes.
okay.
Any other discussion on this line?
I'm good.
Any suggestion not to take it down?
No, we did not suggest to take it down. I'm in conflict with salary versus what his job title entails. So that's my dilemma with this line.
Well, here's the thing. Again, in the charter, it says he's responsible for all legal services, litigation, everything, ordinances, resolutions, attending council meetings, and me and Mr. Pollard have been at odds for a long time regarding this particular line item. I think it's included in his salary. He tends not to want to include it in his salary. He wants to go outside for litigation. We see it a different way. And in the past, they've always put it in the salary ordinance for his additional fee for this for, I think it's up to like $130 an hour. I have no problem putting that in there for the money in that line item for $60,000, but I do have an issue with the additional hourly fee. So I think it might be a good idea to put it in there, but when it comes to the salary ordinance, I am going to request that to be changed as just a salary with no additional hourly fee for litigation.
I was going to ask that if you guys would entertain going back to 45,000 for it, because that kind of is the delta between the two if you get your change.
Okay, well, again,
Mike, what do you think of that? Mr. Sears?
Well, if we listen to what Ken told us about the upcoming litigations, some of them are going to have to be taken outside of his domain, which probably this is where he's asking to draw this money from for other legal fees. So we do know this is Viviano's coming. We do know Broadway Place is coming. We do know Coe is coming. So I would,
Well, Coe is next year.
yeah, but we still have to deal with the two housing. And then we have the master plan. We'll be dealing with legal issues with that,
How about making it 54,000?
you know.
If we,
Just don't want to cut ourselves short.
sorry, Mr. Sears.
And-
If we need extra for the two ZBAs as well, you guys, I think we did 15,000 each anticipated for each case.
Mhm.
If it goes over it, we would have this line to draw from if it, had sufficient amount.
And then we have also seasons, that
Well, we
property.
have another line now for that.
Yeah.
All right, my motion fails, nobody seconded it, so we'll go along with the original $60,000 motion.
I'm sorry, Mike, what was your motion?
I'm okay with bringing it down to 54,000.
I didn't hear that either, Mr. Chairman.
I said 45, and then I said before I'll change it to 54.
I didn't hear you say motion, so I'm
I
sorry.
didn't either.
I'd make a motion to bring it to 54,000. If I didn't say
We're
it.
saying we heard it down here.
You did
I
hear
heard
it.
a number, but I didn't hear anything else. It was very quiet.
I
so-
got
Notice how they heard it.
I got your back on that.
I'll make a motion to bring it to 54,000.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
No.
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. At the bottom of the page, we have planner fees, COA, 40120156280. 2,500 is the new request from Mr. Pollard. 2,500 is the new recommend. Do I have a motion?
I'm sorry. You saw our planner fees,
Yeah.
17.5?
Goes to 2,500. We can reduce it by 15,000. That's for Mr. Pollard. Do I have a motion?
Michael Page is at home. So,
Right at the bottom of
Bottom of
page
page
15.
It's going down to 20.
156,280?
Yes, 156,280. Mr. Pollard's new request was 2,500 and 2,500 recommended.
Is that
Second.
Yes, I had it written down also.
second?
You'll second it? Okay.
Right,
Mr. Allman,
New
you,
motion.
Mr. Sears motioned.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Oman seconded.
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Casio,
yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. On the next page, we have COA, special master fees, 40120156290. The new recommend is 2,000. Excuse me, the new request is 2,000. The new recommend is 2,000. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
I did have a question.
Oh.
Why was it reduced?
Mr. Pollard said it was okay to reduce it.
Okay. Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Tax appeals appraisers, 40120160210. We tabled it. We did not change the number. It's still at 15,000. As a request and 15,000 recommended. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
So my only thing is, if we move forward with the tax appeal, not the tax, the revaluation, I would expect that would go down.
So would I, but
Hopefully next year. I don't think we can do it for this year by the time we do whatever we're doing.
Well,
'Cause I always get them confused also.
No, no.
reval.
Well, the appeals, the appeals have to be in by April 1st, right?
so not a lot of
So I
appeals
didn't-
this year, so I think we can bring it down this year.
Well, I would imagine that most of those would be in already, right?
Should be.
And we should, the tax assessor should know where we
There
are.
wasn't that many, we were told.
So,
Well, do you want to table it once more and we can get a firm number?
I guess.
yeah, there's no rush, you know,
Yeah.
if we know we don't have that many.
Sure.
That would be wonderful to save a
I'm
couple
gonna keep it
dollars
at
there.
table there.
Yeah, let's keep that table. Thank you, Peter, for checking in on that.
My only thought is that although the revaluation won't impact till 2025, people would be likely hesitant to undergo the expense for 1 year.
Correct.
So I don't know if we would see a large number of appeals.
But if the mayor can get us that number for next meeting, I don't think it's gonna.
Okay.
The next one I have is on the following page, stormwater management engineering fees, 401-20165-202. 6,000 requested, 6,000 recommended. We tabled this because we were gonna get more information on if that's a contractual item or what that is.
I got to be honest with you. I know we talked about it again. I just don't remember where we went. I think you guys were really happy with that $6,000 number.
We're happy with it?
Oh, yeah, from what I remember, you know, you just letting it down.
Council President DeSena?
Yes, Mr. Corcoran.
I just wanted to get back on this. This is related to, I had to do a journal entry, but the entry was done after this detail report was run. This report was run on February 5th, and I did it after that to adjust some year-end balances. And I was advised by the financial advisor to tie in some numbers with the AFS. So I would ask the council to go by what's in the budget report as opposed to the detail. Because the detail is still showing that it has $2,500. And if I were to run that report today, it would have a zero balance.
Okay, that's one of the things we saw is on the
Yes,
run report, it was minus 2,500, so we were trying to see if we could reduce it.
right. So go by the budget report. That's more accurate.
Do I have a motion for the 6,000 requested, 6,000 recommended?
That's
Norman had a question.
Oh, Mr. Allman, you have another question? Oh, we gotta make a motion first.
so moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Allman, your question to Mr.
Just,
Corcoran?
Mr. Corcoran, do you recall what the entry was regard to?
Basically, what it was I realized before I did the journal entry that there was a PO that was charged to an account that was creating it to have a negative balance, and it was stormwater related. So I was able to use part of that and charge this line for that. So it solved all the problems in terms of getting all the balances to where they should be, because you can't have any account with zero balance. Basically, that's what it was. And since it was stormwater related, I was able to credit that account back to zero that out and also make that entry for this particular line, which zeroed this out as well. So it solved all the problems with the one entry that I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion on this line, gentlemen?
Okay.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
No.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. On the following page, we have the archive social that we were gonna see if that quote was correct.
Yes.
It's 401-20406-500, 4,188 requested, 4,188 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? So that is the bill? So it's a direct pass-through?
Yes.
Mrs. Wachowski saying that the 4,188 is a direct pass-through.
Okay. I mean, if it supports our,
It supports everyone, right? The departments, everybody?
Yes.
I think up to 12 accounts, right?
Yes, I think, yeah, that's what I brought with me tonight. Option to have as many as 11 accounts connected. Right now, we have two Facebook, the Facebook and the Twitter account. Let's see, and then it says, he also gave me a little more detail, which I put in one of your packets. I
recall that.
Yeah, where it talks about linking anything and everything that's related to government accounts together. So there is room to put extra accounts, but any of your, I'm going to say political ones that use your township email. And all it does is archives. That's all it does is archives. That if somebody does put a request in, we can go through them to get the post.
Gotcha.
That's all it means. It doesn't mean.
So if you delete the post, it's still there.
Right, right.
I mean, not that it's still there, but they can retrieve it.
But
should they
yeah,
need
they-
it.
No, I'm saying it's in the,
Yeah,
it's,
I just want to make sure the
it's,
public
It's not
understands that.
deleted,
Yeah.
it's archived.
Right.
it's archived.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So that's what that is.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? No. Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll leave the next one until Ms. Velez gets here, because I know she'd like to be involved in that discussion, so I don't want to. Everybody's okay with that, or you guys want to do?
No. Yes, let's leave it until she returns.
Okay. Next I have is on page, where are we going? I had it marked until we started doing those, which is fine. Mr. DeCarlo, would you be able to provide a report, or Mr. Corcoran, would you be able to provide a report of what the revenue was from the building department
For 23?
for 2023?
Yeah, go to the revenue. You know what, if you're looking for, let's see, I think it might do it collectively.
I don't think it's got, yeah.
Well, it has construction code, 203,390 was realized. Under fees and permits, construction code.
So 203,390.
Right, we had budgeted 200 or, estimated it at 200, and we did a little bit better than that. Not to distract you, but did we skip planning board office supplies, or maybe I just, we didn't get there?
We didn't get there.
We didn't get there yet.
You're
Thank
okay.
you, sorry.
So we had Mr. Corcoran, is that correct? 203,390 is what the building department revenue was last year?
Yes.
And if we take all the salaries, it's adding up to 200 is what you're saying, Mr. DeCarlo?
No, when we did last year's budget, we estimated a revenue of 200,000. We actually did $3,090 better, $3,390 better in the realized column. So, and then we always base it on the projected amounts from the previous year. So, if you don't mind, if I just take you on a detour for a minute,
Yeah.
if you go down the 24 proposed budget,
Yeah, I see you got 201,021 total requested and recommended.
what's he looking at?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, are you on the revenue report?
No, I'm in the, if you go down to the line total, the department.
Oh, I
on-
apologize,
on
okay.
Page 25.
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about the revenue. I got it.
Yeah, if you go to page 25, your department total is under what you brought in last year.
So, let me see, where am I? Okay, planning department, so. Where are you though? I apologize.
24.
If you
Oh,
go to
24,
the
gotcha.
top of page 25,
Okay.
the total budget for the department is 201,021. Everybody see that?
Yes,
Requested and recommended.
Right.
So it's underneath, it's just below what we brought in last year. So I think if we project that out this year, I'm okay with that for the discussion of all those line items. As long as we're not funding the building department, I don't have an issue with it. Because in years past, the residents were funding the building department, and the law says that the building department should be self-funded. So I have no objection to those line items. I don't know what in my first year on council, I think we put like a lot of money into the department because it was underfunded. And, I've been in departments where we've let staff go because the revenue didn't come in, and by the end of the year, we had to let staff go.
you're not going to get an argument from me.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, as long as you understand, we're just estimating off of last year.
But what I'm saying is some of our original budgets,
Right.
we were putting tax dollars, like,
Correct.
we put like 75,000 into that department out of
Right.
taxes to pay for them, where
Correct.
the state says that we should be self-funded.
Yeah.
So what we're doing right now is correct. I'm in agreement with. So what say you, gentlemen? Do we go through them or do we wait?
I would say go through them.
Go through it.
Okay.
I would go through it.
Uniform construction code, You okay with that, Tom?
Yeah.
UCC official 401-22-105-13110, 32,040 requested, 31,040 requested, 31,040 recommended. Do I have a motion?
Is this,
So moved.
This is on page 23, the top.
yeah, but is this salary?
Yes. We weren't gonna,
Some,
as long as we're not gonna,
It's paid through the,
it's paid through the building department, so as long as we're okay with it, we don't have to write them. As long as we're not gonna discuss who it is or anything like that. That's what Mr. Pollard said.
You're not going to get another argument from me.
Unless you want to write some, Mr. Alman.
No, but I do want to just,
Can we have a second, please?
I second it.
Mr. Sears second. I didn't hear me. Now he did.
Thank you.
is this person on this list?
Yes.
On the salary chart, yes, they all will be.
Right in the middle of the page they begin.
I see.
Right underneath that double yellow line,
Yes.
that's where they begin. Well, one below that double yellow line.
Okay.
All right? Any other discussion? Roll call.
this is,
This is 110, the top line.
okay, but my question was, this is an increase of how much per?
It's
Is it the 2%?
It's 2%.
You need to speak up, Councilman Cassiano.
No.
Bring your microphone closer, please.
No problem.
Thank you.
I just want to know what the percentage was, and that was mine.
Actually, can I believe Councilwoman Velez is working with
Mr. Beckmeyer?
Mr. Beckmeyer and is doing a review of the building department?
I wouldn't call it a review, that sounds a little too broad, but a few select areas. And now we're also bringing the planner in on it to make sure they're working all together in harmony.
So my only question would be, I don't know if she's identified anything that might impact this discussion.
I know, more or less what they're working on. I don't believe it would. It's just things to streamline to make it better for the residents when they have applications and things like that.
Okay,
Does that answer your question, Mr. Holmes?
it does. And is the hours that are noted here, are they office hours?
It depends which person you are referring to, but, in the building department, office hours is time they have to do inspections, but they get their work done. So if it takes them longer than what's noted, that's what they do. So, when you're looking at the TA and the second TA, that's office hours. They don't go out on inspection.
This should be going.
If you're looking at the Uniform Construction Code official, it's going to be a combination of both, right? He has to go and do inspections, as well as the office hours of reviewing plans and such.
So is this a exempt or non-exempt position?
Do you mind, what do you mean exempt?
Overtime.
But yeah, no, nobody receives overtime there. None of the town hall non-union workers receive overtime. And everything, you have my word, reflects a 2% increase.
It's shown on that chart that it's.
It is, yes.
No, so I guess my question, so is it not overtime from a time and a half or whatever that overtime might be, but can a person be paid more hours than noted here?
No,
Okay.
You good? Roll call?
Councilman Cassio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes,
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Uniform Construction Code Plumbing Official, 40122195130, $12,068 requested, $12,068 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes. Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Uniform Construction Code, Second TA, 40122195150, $32,212 requested, $32,212 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Uniform Construction Code, Electric Official, 40122195160, $15,058 requested, $15,058 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Uniform Construction Code, Fire Code Official, 40122195170, $9,123 requested, $9,123 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is this individual a member of the Washington Township Volunteer Fire Department?
No.
No? Okay.
Any other discussion?
No.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. I'd like to table the next one until I have more information, so I'll just table it.
That's 180 or 185.
180.
1-8.
Is that okay with everyone?
Is it something I can try and answer?
No, not in public.
Okay.
Planning and Zoning Liaison, 40122195185, $8,160 requested, $8,160 recommended. Do I have a motion?
The question?
What's that?
Who?
Motion.
Wait, wait, wait.
Oh, yeah, well, I was, a motion.
I'll second.
What is this person's responsibilities?
We can't talk about
Oh,
that
that's
now,
right.
so
Okay.
we can table it if you'd like.
Is it in the
Jim,
job
it's in
classification?
the job classifications, Mr. Sears.
Yes, at the back of the book.
At
You
the
wanna look
back?
at it real
Okay. That's fine with it. I'm good with it.
Any other discussion?
I think,
Table.
Do you want to table it, gentlemen?
I'd like to. That's my thing, but if Mike was before me, so let him ask his question.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
so is there,
Let's not discuss it. We'll table it and we'll get back.
well,
to it.
the hours, there's 35 hours for one role, and there's no hours allocated to the other two roles. So how many hours? What is the expectation? That someone's working 45 hours a week or 50 hours a week, or is it 35 hours for those?
Let's have the person know that we're talking about the hours that they work, and then we'll get back. I hear your
Okay.
question. That's why I tabled.
Okay.
So I'd rather table it and be safe.
Fine.
Uniform Construction Code, Building Plumbing Inspector, 40122195187, $17,167 requested, $17,167 recommended. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, that's 2% as well.
That's 2% as well, according to the chart.
Yes.
17,167.
It's two positions. Building inspector and plumbing inspector.
Correct.
So this is the one we, so has this been, have we replaced this?
Yes.
role?
On a
Okay.
temporary basis. Yeah.
Okay,
Are you okay, Ms. Solomon?
I'm good.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Uniform Construction Code, CCO inspections, 401-22-195-189, 12,500 requested, 12,500 recommended. Can we reduce this, Mr. DeCarlo? Because,
I mean, we fund this so there's enough money to pay for those inspections, and then obviously the resident supplements it, and it's brought in through the revenue side. I don't feel comfortable giving you that answer. If you want to reduce it, I'd ask you to let us table it, and I'll
yeah, if
ask
you don't mind, can we table it? Because I'd like to see what we forecasted the first 3 months of the year versus last year's first 3 months because of the housing market being kind of volatile right now. On the following page, gentlemen, Uniform Construction Code, office supplies, 401-22-195-210, 750 requested, 750 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just, can I get there?
Sure. I'm just being polite and asking for discussion. Just let us know you're getting there, that's all.
Like, all of a sudden, it's like ticking off pages at a time. So, do we actually print a lot of color copies? Or is there a need to print a lot of color copies?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
And I'm not talking about this department per se, just in the building, across all departments, because I keep seeing, yellow, was it cyan or whatever, magenta, we print a lot of color. The organization that I work, you can print as much black and white basically as you want, but the color copiers and printers are key coded and it's tied back and it's monitored because of the expense associated with it. So,
I don't know what the building department specifically has, but we only have one color printer upstairs that we all operate out of if we need something. So again, it's not discretionary. Most likely it would be because of professionalism or, the presentation of something, the need for it to look more,
Especially maybe our town logo if it prints on
Right,
certain
yeah.
forms.
I certainly don't use it that much. I certainly wouldn't think it's abused in any way, but there is only one printer. Everybody doesn't have one.
Well, they have their own color printer downstairs, don't they?
Yeah.
The building department.
Oh, that's what I meant. I
Yeah.
didn't know if they have one.
No, well, there's a lot of cartridges being built to it, that's why I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, well, don't,
What's that?
I think we placed it. There was a regular printer down there. Yeah.
okay.
Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Not for me.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Moving down to Uniform Construction Code, mileage stipend, 401-22-195-280, 1,000 requested, 1,000 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Discussion?
How many people are covered by this?
It's several. I wish I had, well, you know what, let me pull up last year's salary ordinance, because it says on there.
It's been 750, you know, for years, and they've only spent 750, so.
Right, because I think the ordinance calls for specific positions, but that one person tends to have more positions. You know, like, I don't, if that makes sense. I don't know. if it does.
So he only gets it one time.
Right.
So then can we make it 750 again?
Let me just pull this up real quick so I can give you a better answer.
So it's one person.
No, it's multiple people, but one person holds multiple titles, so he only gets one stipend. Is that correct, what I just said, Mr. DeCarlo?
I think so. Salary ordinance, the building plumbing inspector is $250, the electrical subcode official is $250, the fire code sub-official is $250, and the tax assessor is $250. So, yes, it can be brought down to,
750?
yes.
Because those two share.
Okay, I'll make a motion to reduce it to 750. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
Is that the recommendation from administration?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
okay. Thank you.
It's the revised recommendation.
correct.
At the request of council. Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes,
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena,
Yes. Uniform Construction Code, Furniture and Equipment, 40122195300. 300 requested, 300 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
second.
I recommend 200.
I was going to make it 150. Mike, you want 200?
200, please.
Mr. Ullman's made a motion for 200. Anybody second that?
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes,
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena,
Yes. Uniform Construction Code Training, 40122195370. 500 requested, 500 recommended. Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Second.
Discussion?
What, they have training in mind, Mr. DeCarlo? Or,
I don't know off the top of my head, but please just consider this as several people in that office.
okay.
And, you know, if we went to the job classification, there is CEU requirements. Most of them are achieved at no cost, but again, with the amount of people in there, one course, you know, could eat up a lot of that.
I'm okay with it.
Thank you.
Are we, I'm assuming some of these individuals have professional licenses.
Again, we'd have to look at the job classification. I wouldn't want to shortchange anybody. But yes, they definitely have certifications. I'm not sure if license would be, but the job classifications spell all that out. I'm more than happy to look one up.
So I'm just wondering, okay.
Go ahead.
If they have a license, are we paying to maintain that license, or is this training outside of that?
Again, my time here, I don't remember ever expending an expense out of the Uniform Construction Code for a license. It more would be training. I just want to see if I can get to somebody, for example. Construction code official out of anyone, you know, is going to have the most.
And do we share these individuals?
We don't share them, but these job titles tend to have, you know, they're part-time jobs, so they tend to have the same job or a similar job in another jurisdiction. So, you know, our code official may be our uniform construction code official may be the same in another town, or he might only be the plumbing inspector in another town. They tend to have multiple. Okay, so uniform construction code official, I won't name the person specifically, but on the back, certifications required, no. Licensing required, construction official license issued by the Department of Community Affairs. Mandatory training, mandatory continued education credits for each technical and administrative license every 3-year renewal period. So, I mean, I don't think we've ever dictated whether we were going to pay for someone's license renewal, but I
I
haven't
don't
seen it.
recall it either.
Right. Thought that we would or wouldn't. We haven't seen it. We haven't been
It
asked.
has not been asked. Okay. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Just general discussion. You know, you hold a license and you're required to get CUs. To me, that's part of a licensing fee. Because if you don't maintain those CUs and you go to the state, you lose your license, basically. So you technically, are you paying for their licensing fees? No. In reality, you're paying for their licensing fees. Now, I don't think as a professional who holds a couple of different licenses, I have to get them renewed, my CUs. And if I went to another job position, I wouldn't expect them to pay for them. Because that's my responsibility, that's my professional licensure. So, you know, in the future, you know, maybe we can discuss that with new employees, maybe current employees, that it's really their responsibility to maintain their licensure and their CUs to maintain that license. And again, that's just a general discussion, nothing regarding right now, but that's how I would view it. Most professionals are like that. And if you're a conscientious professional, you would make sure you got it done on your own time. But that's just my opinion.
Thank you. Roll call?
Councilman Gassion.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Uniform Construction Code Printing 40122-195, 470, 500 requested, 500 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I would,
Go ahead, Mr. Holman.
I'd reduce it again until they
To
decide
250?
to spend it.
I'm okay with 250. Is everyone, I'll make a motion for 250?
Council President, may I respectfully?
Yes.
At the beginning of this week, we had a discussion on how tax dollars aren't funding this and that the revenue is covering this. And now we're reducing these lines. So I'm
Yeah, but if
confused.
they're not being used, we gotta
I know, but-
be prudent on,
And I understand that side of the argument, but then we don't have a chance to.
but we gave them,
So how-
all
how-
last year to spend one.
Well, how would we have I don't mean to speak over it, but how would we have the ability to show you that we have a need for it?
Because last year they spent $0.
So
They didn't
they-
spend one penny.
So that's not considered frugal or prudent? It's essentially it's a penalty for not using it.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
I would ask you to reconsider reducing it.
So so being frugal is not, they shouldn't be penalized. But did they tell you we need 500 and what for? So we can either do run rate or we could do bottom up, but
I don't understand what either one of those are. I wouldn't want to encourage our employees to waste the money either.
I'm not
a run rate
suggesting.
is, you look at the number and you see it going across and you say, oh, there's a trend here. They spend 650, 150, 650, 740. What's the trend? And do we expect that to occur this year? And you forecast off of that.
Well, we already did what you asked, and we brought it down to 500, and you want to bring it down even further. So it was like my comment the other night, we're increasing what you asked us to do, and I'm worried that it's just going to underfund it. That's it. That's my request. And
And if I may, this line for some reason is up and down a lot, but 3 of the last 5 years, they came close to spending the 750 that was allocated. I can't say why it was 0 last year. Perhaps that was an anomaly year. So again, I agree with the administrator. You know, we cut it to 500. If they don't use it again this year, then I would ask them to, update their ask for next year because they haven't used it 2 years in a row.
What say you, gentlemen?
I wouldn't reduce it to 50, but I would reduce it, maybe $100 or $50. You know, if we're giving it, it's self-funded. I hope they would use it for a good cause.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
I don't
waste
wanna-
approval.
Well, I don't want to cut them short. If they're going to do printing, please do printing. If we're putting it in there, please use it.
If you need it. Yeah.
Frugally, if you need it. Because if you don't, here's my philosophy. If you put it in a budget and you don't use it, that's really double taxing your citizenry, because they trust us to use the money for something and we don't use it. They're not getting product for it. If we're putting money in, we should get product. No product. So reduce it, but please use it if we give it to you. Make sense, right?
So the original motion is still for 500.
I'm sorry, Pete?
Yeah, Council President. I don't like that word double tax because it makes it seem like the original went into a fund that we can never touch again. We do use it in not the following year, but the year after.
Correct.
So I don't want to make it seem like double tax, like, hey, we didn't spend it, so it got wasted somehow.
No, it's not
It does
wasted,
get used.
But we need to.
Again, just for the public's benefit.
Yeah, yes.
Because I don't like that double tax.
If that's a term you don't care for, I'm okay with it. But,
Okay.
but again, it's money that
Yeah.
we're taking, we're not using right now. And the ask is for now, right? We all talk about the surplus 2 years down the road.
Right.
And a lot of things change in 2 years, right? We've seen that happen with
Absolutely.
COVID and everything. I really want to use whatever we're asking the citizenry
Right.
now. So that's just my comment.
Thank you.
So
So the original motion is still for 500 recommended. We're okay leaving it?
I'm okay with 500,
All right.
but please use it.
Mr. Ullman, you good?
Fine.
Mr. Sears?
Are we
I'm
taking a
fine
roll
with
call?
Yes, please, at 500.
Councilman Cassio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes,
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Uniform Construction Code miscellaneous 40122-195, 500, 6,000 requested, 6,000 recommended. Do I have a motion? Somebody motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Sears will second it. Discussion?
I guess the big one is, why did it go from,
We did all the
15.
new software that year, right?
is that the software?
That's the software year, Mr. Mayor? The $15,000 year?
I don't recall it, so I would take your word if you're recalling it that way,
I
yes.
believe it was, they had a big software upgrade or something that we could.
It was so tiny 3 years ago,
It's a huge jump from this line, yeah.
even if you take
I
out the
think we
50.
did do the software, but I can't think of the name of it. What is it called?
Since we have a separate
Spatial
line
logic.
item. Well, we have a
What's that?
separate,
Yes, spatial.
we have a
spatial
separate line item
Data
for them.
is for SDL, that's the licensing.
Yep.
Oh, that's right below it, that's the.
Yeah.
So why is this line so high?
I mean, I'm not on the history yet. What did the 4,400 go toward?
They needed a
Last year.
computer
Probably
equipment.
licensing and maintenance, like everything else.
Yep. That's-
I think that was the new
Computer
software.
equipment, I'm going to guess ink. And I don't know if this is,
Magenta.
Yeah.
Magenta.
I have no idea what
All right.
the whole 180.
Mr. Ullman, where's the detail on this one? You know,
Page 80, line 80, page 86, excuse
Page
me.
86, okay. Let's go
I
to
don't know if
page
these are
86.
forms, but they,
Okay, where are we? We are.
issue label. I mean, I'm guessing that this is printing, which is why it's not
It looks like it.
in the other line,
Right.
which is why it's 0.
No, maybe not. Let's not assume it was a mistake.
I didn't say it was a mistake, I just
I think
said,
printing really refers to something of
Like
some
out-
extraordinary, yeah. I think it's like,
Outside as opposed to
yeah, like
inside.
paper like this, yeah.
Well, CDW is computer equipment. That's
Yes.
what's,
Yep.
so there's a lot of computer equipment built to this.
What is it, HP, laser check? The first one, and then that's the new printer.
or their rubber stamps, missed you or not approved.
Yeah, those are the stickers, I'm sure. I believe all the Allegra stuff is the stickers, Mr. Corcoran. Would that be that? Would you know the Allegra? Is that the vendor that provides all the stickers for the building department?
Council President, I'm not 100% sure about
Okay, Mr. DeCarlo, do you know if that's it? It seems like it, right?
Yeah, it's a
Yes, I mean,
reasonable-
this is really their only line that they have to draw from for things that are not specific, such as
Yeah.
books or, furniture, 200, again, we didn't count on them needing the new computer. It wasn't forecasted, but we needed to. We needed to dedicate a computer to the one software. I don't want to call it a television, but the one screen that they had. So, again, we don't know where that whole building department's going to go in a year. $6,000. It was brought down from $15,000.
In the spirit of cooperation, I'm comfortable changing the recommend to 5,500.
The mayor's asked to change the recommend to 5,500.
Come on, motion that.
We'll motion it. You second it?
No.
No? Anybody
Did
second?
someone motion?
Mr. Sears,
I'll second 5,500.
okay. Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes,
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes, thank you. Uniform Construction Code, SDL, which is the license, it's for 4 licenses, 9,500, it's 401-22-195-830, 9,550 requested, 9,550 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
second.
Mr. DeCarlo, is this the exact
Yeah,
cost?
it's easy. Yeah, it's an exact amount supported by quote. We need the 4 licenses.
Just,
Yes, Mr. Owen.
maybe it's just a shorthand or something, but it references 5 licenses or 5 computers
Where is that?
in the detail on page 87. So I don't know if the 89.
Right, so this is going to sound crazy, but we needed to spend money to save money, so we didn't need 5 licenses anymore. Unfortunately, there wasn't, I guess there was like a lower price for having 5. So only having 4 costs 90. It was 10,500 for 5. Why that's showing only 8,900, I'd have to get back to you on that. But I
Probably
spoke
what's
to the
in the bill,
woman
right?
myself and wanted to understand how, it wasn't a bigger reflection of savings when we went down a whole license. And it was essentially, we were losing some credit for not spending more money. But I don't know off the top of my
Yeah,
head
the
why it
record
says
reflects Ms. Willis on this.
5 licenses were 8,900.
Thank you.
Plus, there's also,
Good evening.
there's also an increase in, from year to year.
Page 12.
And this,
On the bottom of
Is the
page
building
25,
department,
top of page 25, please.
Thank you.
tablets, is that part of this?
No,
They're not on tablets.
no. Only the code official is, the code enforcement officer.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Just will the 95 be sufficient?
Yes.
So that's the quote, correct, for the 4 licenses?
Yes, yep.
Daisy, we're at the top, page 25. It's, the line is Uniform Construction Code SDL on the previous page.
9,500.
195, 850, 830, excuse me.
I'll make a motion.
Was there any,
Okay.
roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Omen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes.
Council President, just, I know you guys voted yes, and I appreciate it, but just for clarity, it was $8,400 for 4 licensing and 1 portal charge at a cost of $1,130. So it brought it up to $95.30.
Okay. You want to keep going on the same page? Let's see what we got.
Those are all provided, well, most of them are provided numbers. Well, the next 2 are provided numbers.
Liability insurance, 40123210000, $258,959 requested, $258,959 recommended. Do I have a motion?
Oops, sorry.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Our premium went up 10%, Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes, and they provided a letter on all these numbers. It has nothing to do with usage or claims or, not that you were asking this, but nothing we did wrong because the mayor and I specifically went looking to see if this is because of something that was going wrong.
Yeah,
an
excess
indication.
claims or anything.
There was no excess claims,
Nothing. No, it was all,
just a 10% increase just because we want to.
Yeah.
I know I have the letter in here because I knew that would come up and I don't blame you for it coming up.
Is this a GIF?
Yes. Jeff, they provide us with a bill that has like 3 numbers. You already did one of them already. Like the other day. I think it was like the JIF ambulance contribution or something. It was something relatively inexpensive compared to this line.
So this is a direct pass through. This is our invoice for the year
Yes.
2024.
Yes.
Just amazing that 2 years in a row we've gone up for a 10% increase. It's a lot of money.
Wait till you get to sewer.
The number.
Do we motion it already?
What's that?
Motion discussion.
Yeah, motion, we're in discussion. Any other discussion, John? Ladies? Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Omen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Workman's compensation insurance, 40123215000, $252,329 requested, $252,329 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Need to speak up.
So moved.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Who provides our workmen's? Is that the state?
That's through JIF as well.
Through GIF as well.
Wow.
And did they provide an explanation?
Yeah, it's all, like, again, I can give this to Ms. Witkowski to send out.
That's a 25, that's like a 20-some% increase. That's crazy.
Do we ever shop out to the other GIFs?
I never have.
Garden State?
I think, if I remember correctly, when we asked our risk person last year, the answer came back that the GIFs are territorial, for lack of a better word, that you can't go outside your territory to another GIF.
Well, this comes from.
I don't,
this one, I believe.
Oh, from the Mel.
Yeah, this is from Mel. This isn't from Bergen JIF.
I don't think that's correct because Paramus doesn't use who we use. So I would urge,
Want us to get more information?
I would love it. If we can save them a couple $1,000s, that would be
Well,
wonderful.
I would like to go back and then look at the liability also, because if it's both coming from the same place.
Yes, yeah. It's a bill.
Yep, GIF and Mel.
I think it's hard to switch midstream at this point.
Yeah, but maybe for next year.
Yeah, let's back from next year. Let's investigate. You know, there's
It's almost 15% increase.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Plus 20, yeah.
Yeah, I just did the numbers.
I'll double check.
Mr. DeCarlo, is there,
Yeah.
Mr. DeCarlo, I know we have a single person who's our risk manager,
Yes.
and other towns have a risk management group. Does that change things, or you don't know enough about it there?
I don't know, but I don't see why it would.
What do you mean a group, Michael?
Like other towns don't have a single person like we do. They have it's a risk management organization. Like if you go to New Milford, Paramus, Park Ridge, all of them, they don't have a one person operation. It's a group. So I don't know if that would bring us a different premium. I'm not saying it's not. It may bring us a higher premium, like you said, but is that something we can entertain? Because these numbers are just staggering.
32,000 and 33,000,
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
almost 34 and 33. Yeah,
Yeah, we can research it. I'll even ask at the mayor's meeting in April.
It would be for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be, but I'm just saying, we can start now, so
Right.
not,
Yeah, that's a big jump.
it's a
Huge jump.
Before they changed the form of government in Washington Township, there used to be a commission of three professionals that would do it. So we're talking pre-70, pre-80, okay? So those three would work the system, finding the best price.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now, the way our charter is, we have one risk manager, and all we have to do is be a producer. From what I understand, that person doesn't have to be certified in risk management, but many are. And I know Mr. Medini for 40 years, 50 years, and he's doing a great job, but there are other avenues you can go on. Again, I like Vic, if we can shop it out to get a lower price, by all means, it's something that we need to do. Just
Yeah,
like your
these
car
big
insurance and
numbers.
everything else, if we can do it as a big number, if we can reduce the increase by, 5% over the years, that would, well,
It's gone up. It's gone up
gotta give.
almost $50,000. It's gone up over $50,000 in 2 years.
Something's gotta give.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. So
Both line items have gone up that much.
I'm okay with that because the price is the price.
Yeah.
Right now. Someone motion for that?
Yeah, that's motion.
Yeah.
Second roll
Let's
call.
roll call.
Councilman Gassion,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
I know, scary numbers.
Councilman Omen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
yes,
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Health benefits 40123220000, 1 million requested, 1 million recommended. Do I have a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Motion, yeah, we,
Yeah.
got a
Second.
motion and a second, now we can discuss. So didn't we have a savings of 183,000 with the new system, Mr. DeCarlo?
So again, I'd have to bring up the paperwork, so I don't want to commit to a number. But the savings that was anticipated was over the course of a year, where we sent we finally got the MOU signed by the unions. And I don't mean finally in a negative way, it's just formalities take time. It's sent down to the state. We're waiting for the state health plan, benefits plan to approve us in that HRA. Simultaneously, we're working with the onboarding and the new implementation with the difference card, hopefully for a implementation date of June 1st or July 1st, which means by the time that happens, we're already 5 to 6 months
Into the year.
into the year. This year is going to be very hard to project because we don't have any history. So what we did in preparation of that is if you look below, you don't have to discuss it, but you'll see a new line was created, extracting dental, life, and accident from the health benefits line. So the health benefits line is purely by itself, and we can track only the health costs. We're anticipating there to be a savings, but it would be very difficult for us. We've tried, and we came up with this being the best strategy to present to the council, the request to fund it at this amount with the the definite belief that it's going to be less than this, preparing for next year in our tracking history. And we also asked, I believe it was Councilman Casio, as far as taking that money and funding it into a trust in the future, which we can certainly do. It's just that wouldn't happen until 26. So we have to, but in 26, when we close the books in 25, we'll be able to take the extra money that's left in here and start putting it into that trust and building it and building it and building it and using it to offset the request each year. Hope that makes sense. And, the bottom line is we just don't have the history there to present you with
Mr.
more.
Corcoran, could you explain the transfer to this line item?
Yes, well, there are actually two transfer resolutions that
I'm
I
sorry.
believe.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's what that negative 53,000 is basically. If you see a negative by a transfer line, that means that they were involved with a transfer resolution where we took money from this account because there was money left over in this account.
So really, last year we only spent 830,000, not 883.
Yes, that's correct. If you net it out, yes.
So we're overfunding this line by, at the time, almost 200 and something $1,000.
Well, again, I understand those words, but I wouldn't accurately describe it as that because we fund this without the contribution of the employees. So the employees' contributions comes in, we have to make huge payments at a time. And we also fund this line with some unknown circumstances. So for this,
Mr. Corcoran, do you know what the employee contributions bring into this line as return out of the 883? You're muted. Mr. Corcoran, you're muted.
I apologize. I could find it. I don't know the exact number. I just know that we get reimbursed every pay for a portion of it.
I was just curious what the 12-month return was on this line based on, I know it varies because everybody puts in a different contribution, but I was just curious what that number was.
let me see, I might have it.
I would just like to add also, right now, because of the delay in going to the difference card, we're paying the 2024 rates on the state health. So that's also a reason to, that we have to leave it at $1 million because we're incurring that higher cost for, obviously.
But the employees are incurring the same higher costs based on.
Right, both sides are, yes.
So,
But I mean, for budgetary.
yeah, no, but it's hurting the employees also because they're not getting the benefit of the
Yes,
lower costs. from the
absolutely.
plan.
Yep.
If you wanted to give me an opportunity to answer the question on the,
Sure, Mr.
okay, approximately $266,000.
Comes
That
back.
was in 2023.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Again, just to reiterate, this $1 million is a guesstimate number, because we're in transition this year. Next year, we'll have a much firmer number that hopefully is less than $1 million.
Just the 23 number was so out of line with the actuals versus what was budgeted. It's crazy. There's a $206,000 delta there.
I don't understand the explanation to overfund it due to timing. So if we look at page 90 of the detail, we look at the second line, we paid the state health benefit of 80 and the library of 6. And if I'm reading this right, we are taking in April, an offset of 22 based on 2 payroll cycles. So I don't see a need to overfund it at that rate if there's not a timing difference, or it's minimal. It's 1 payroll cycle.
Well, I think when we said overfund it, at least what my interpretation was, is we have to overfund it to a certain extent for people who obviously go from a single to a married to a family plan mid-year, where we don't know that when we're doing the budget. So that was what I meant by overfunding it. We have to overfund it to a certain extent.
But I still,
That was the point where I was cut off. I didn't get a chance to finish the sentence.
but I think the 266 is still coming back in.
It is.
Yes. Mhm.
The 883 less the 53. So it's 830 is 830 in true
Cost.
in net cost.
And net cost without the 266 coming back.
No, with the 2.
No, because
I
they're
can
realizing.
respectfully tell the council that we met Mr. Corcoran how many times collectively with the mayor, the entire finance department, reviewed this several times, got the input for the difference card. We're asking for the $1 million to be safe. There's not much more argument or supporting facts I can provide at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to trend it lower, but we're just asking to do it in a controlled fashion since we are transitioning this year. We don't want to cut it short, obviously.
So, Mr. Corcoran,
Yes,
the 883
yes,
includes the transfer out of the 53.
It's really 830.
So the expense, the expense, the health expense on this line is approximately 830.
yes, but that doesn't work out exactly, because if you look at the ending balance in that account, that doesn't go with that number, which makes me think that you'd have to factor in the reimbursements.
Well, the
Because
reimbursement,
in my mind, that would reduce what you're spending if you're looking at the budget line itself. I mean, I'd have to really look at this more closely and, actually, jot some numbers down to verify that I'm 100% sure about that.
Yeah, but Mr. Corcoran, if you go to page 92, right?
Yes.
The balance left in that account before the transfer was $180,262.50. Right? Then we have the 2 transfer resolutions, which brings it down to 152. So disregard those 2 transfer resolutions because that was money because it was there. We needed to move it. But the remaining balance of that line was 180,262.50. When you do all the pluses and minuses of all the, expenses and the contributions back. Because you can see the contributions back are adding back into the total when you look at the pages. When they put the contributions back, it's putting money back into that account.
Because if you didn't have those 2 transfer resolutions, the basically would be 152,000 plus the 53,900.
Yeah.
So it would be
the 180,262.50, which is the last line before the 2 transfer resolutions.
Right. But what I'm saying is the 26.5 is only one of them, though. There was another one.
And 1250 was another one. So there's 2 of them.
Well, no, 1250 is actually an expenditure. That's not yeah. The 2 were 27.4 and 26.5.
Don't forget to take out the amount we moved into the line below too. So I would take out another 72 to 80,000 out of that 189. Because out of that 189, we are accounting for dental, life, and accident too.
But that's already included in here, Mr. DeCarlo. That was in the 880. That was in the 830.
Right, but when you're looking for the difference, I'm asking for you to look at it minus the 72,000.
Yeah, but that doesn't, then you don't show any savings for the difference card then in that line. So even if we say the
You're
difference card, there's no
You're right.
savings. And
You're
the whole
right.
thing of
That-
doing this whole difference card thing was to get the savings. I mean, that's why we did this, so even if we take 50% of that savings, we're still not realizing it on this line.
Like I said, I can't, I'm not going to agree with the facts. I understand what you do. It's your decision at this point. If you want to lessen the fund, then do it. You're absolutely right. We're only indicating like an $18,000 difference. We just don't know. But
No, but I'm saying the
you know
difference.
better.
I'm not saying you know better. No.
Respectfully, I'm just saying. I'm not being argumentative, but respectfully, if you know better, please fund it for a lesser amount. I don't want you to, but again, I'm just not going to agree with your facts. I don't suggest Mr. Corcoran agrees to those facts either. It's very difficult. I came out very transparent in the beginning of the conversation.
No, you did. Thank you.
Exactly what we're looking to do here. So,
But
I'm hoping I'm wrong as far as like how much we need, and next year we'll be able to give you a better idea.
Does anybody know the exact amount that I don't have that presentation with me? Do you know what the 1 year difference card savings was
I will
supposed
pull
to
it
be?
up. Yes.
If you don't mind. Because even if we do 6 months of that savings, because we're not going to get to it till June, or we do 7 months of that savings.
John, do you happen to have handy, or if not, can you get what our monthly premium is under the 2024 rates this year?
Just in this particular line,
Yeah, what we're paying, like with the 80,000 number that we were paying last year. What are we paying the first 2 months of this year? If that's something you have handy.
I don't know the exact amount.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's comparable. I don't think there's a big difference. I mean,
I seem to recall it went up 8% or so was the estimated increase from.
That's what I believe the
last year.
difference.
it did go up. Yes, I'm just not sure the exact
Yeah,
amount.
okay.
But I think it's running a little bit higher than what we were paying last year
Mhm.
at this point.
So even if we round up to 10% with the library, it's 80, call it 87. That would be another 8,700 times at least 5 months before we can get to the difference card.
That's what I'm saying. We'll
Yeah.
deduct that from the.
Right.
Yeah, it's been approximately 80,000 ish, like a month, if I remember. Because when I check the bank accounts, I see that transfer going out for that.
Councilman DeSena, they're projecting 160,212.
160,212.
Yes, between July 1st, 24 and June 30th, 2025.
Okay. So would everybody be okay if we reduce this by $50,000? Since we're going to realize technically an $80,000 savings in 2024. I'll make a motion for 950. Anyone second it?
I just feel we don't have the data right now. To be on the safe side, and like what Mr. DeCarlo said,
Well, nobody seconded my motion, so I guess it's going to fail. So anyone second it? All right. Any discussion, Mr. Allman?
Yeah, so
I don't know why we went through this whole
is it-
difference card to save money and we're still budgeting it higher than we were, right? I don't understand,
is-
we have a due diligence to we did our employees a huge thing by, Mr. DeCarlo spent a lot of time and the mayor spent a lot of time getting the difference card, but we're not taking advantage of the savings. It's supposed to give us 160,212, ladies and gentlemen. So if we're funding it at the same exact amount as last year, we know it's going to be at least $80,000 less, and it's 70-something thousand dollars because we moved that money into the other line. So I mean, it's basically, I don't understand, but that's my opinion.
I agree, Mike. I guess, we are getting an invoice every month with 3 months in. what have we spent to date? Let's project that out for 6 months.
You want to table this and we'll
I'm more than happy to table it. I mean, I
you guys
couldn't
want to
agree
table?
more, Mike.
Yes, I think unfortunately, I understand what Mr. DiCarlo and the mayor is saying, that it's a moving target because it's a new thing. But we were promised $160,000 savings. That's why we did this. And to not at least take an $80,000 savings on this line is not right. So if we could table this and get, I guess, what would you like to have, Mr. Ullman, the 3 months of the first quarter of the year costs?
Yeah, what's the run? So what is the expenses, the actual expenses in this line for the first 3 months? Or, and we know what the payroll offset is. And if it's not going live until July.
We know exactly what it is. All right, everybody okay with tabling it until we get more information?
Yeah, I'm okay with tabling, but again, it's insurance stinks. Comes out. I work with it every day. It's very hard to estimate what you're going to need, premiums, benefits, all that stuff. And I understand now the mayor and Mr. DiCarlo probably pulled some hairs out.
I'm not saying they did.
No one's accused. No,
But the last thing I want to do is I don't want to underfund it. We are overpaying. We're supposed to make a savings. I'm just uncomfortable with 50. I
want more. I was being
conservative.
I was being conservative. I want to deduct the 72 and the 80 because that's how much is there.
Council President, if I may.
Yes.
I guess I do have a little bit more argument in. One, I just wanted to respectfully, in case you just misspoke, there was no promise of $160,000 savings. So I don't want to be in the same seat next year. Hopefully I will be. But being told that it was a promise and it came in at 150 or 140.
I don't want it to come in at
7.
10. And that's the question I asked her because I've gone through this in life. And we were made lots of promises and then had to go back because the promises that were presented did not come to fruition.
I know, but it wasn't a promise.
It's an estimate.
Yeah.
An estimate.
I don't need it. I'm not saying it's going to be exact. That's why I only wanted to do 50,000. So I was giving you
No,
a little leeway
I
there.
get it. I'm just like, again, of course, I express my frustration. It's just because I don't want to be at the end of the year and then we're in a predicament.
Okay.
That's why I like trying
So
to
we
argue with you.
table it?
Please don't do it. But
Yeah.
I also just wanted to remember the idea that Mr. Councilman Cassio had about using the excess to fund a trust.
Yeah, future
So,
years.
Again, I'm not saying we're fattening it up so we can do that, but if there is that fat at the end, we will be able to satisfy that. That was a request
All right.
from him. It was a good idea.
Okay.
So, it will satisfy several things. It'll give us that cushion. If there is excess, it'll give us the time to get that, the confidence in the numbers.
Yep.
And then if there is extra there, then, just like Councilman Cassio's request, we can start funding that trust. And,
Can we get a report of the first quarter numbers for dental
absolutely.
and medical and the
Yes.
contributions back? And
Yes.
then we'll table it for now.
Yes. But still won't help us with, what we're,
I understand.
Okay.
It's still a crystal ball. I agree with you, but I just can't in good conscience say that we're not going to bring it down from last year by anything, knowing that we have this option for $160,000 savings.
yes, sir. I will get it.
And all
we're
the
gonna-
paperwork has been filed with the state to make this change?
Yes, with the state health.
At least our knowledge, because things keep changing. We think we submitted everything and,
No, we definitely submitted everything. And
but then sometimes they come back and say, you did, but things changed.
Yeah, I don't.
To our knowledge, we have filed everything.
Right. I don't think that's the case here.
Mhm.
The person on our end that was involved did read receipts, received receipts, and,
Okay.
some have opened it and read it, some haven't. So but it's not holding up the implementation. That's the biggest thing to respond to Mr. Ullman is even if the state's gonna, put us at the end of the pile, it's not affecting our ability to move forward.
We're operating in parallel.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
We'll table
if that's the case,
dental
how
life.
come we don't implement tomorrow?
It takes 60 days to implement. So we're trying to get this ready for open enrollment of April 1st.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, the state did change something from 23
Oh,
to
it changed a lot.
24.
Yeah, that's why we had to go back to the drawing board. At nobody's fault. It wasn't the council's fault, it wasn't union's fault, it wasn't our fault.
All right, so we'll get the numbers for dental, life, and dental when we get those from Mr. Corcoran, so we'll table that also.
Correct.
My next thing is on page
Why-
33, fire prevention outside consulting,
Sorry, what page, Mike?
33.
Thank you.
We had tabled fire prevention outside consulting.
Council President, can you just, so I can make sure I get what you guys need, what did?
We wanted the actuals for the first quarter of the year
For health, I'm sorry, for dental too?
dental also, yeah.
Oh,
So we
okay.
could, just so we could track the
Gotcha.
cost and the employee contribution. So the medical, dental, and employee contributions kick back.
You have both of those, John?
Yes, yeah, I can get you a report that will show the first quarter's.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I have fire prevention on page 33 was tabled, outside consulting 401-25-264-320, 18,600 requested, 18,600 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
33, Ms. Witkowski.
Yeah.
Second, Ms. Velez and Mr. Cassidy. Any discussion? I guess we tabled this, Mr. DeCarlo, do we know?
Yeah, you did. I think you ultimately tabled it because you considered it a salary.
Well, this is what we didn't know if they were employees or not.
No, we did know it. I think you were just probably confused because it says outside consulting. And again, it's probably just one of those things that never clicked in my head. They are not, they are.
Okay, so then this
Township
stays
employees.
tabled then.
And,
Okay.
yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're in the group that you're Rice noticing
Okay.
also.
That's fine. Okay, I'm looking at it as outside again.
Right.
My bad, it's not
It's a
30.
misnomer.
Can I,
Right.
while we're kind of on the topic of the Rice notice, since you did some of the positions from the UCC, is that alleviating them from being Rice?
I think we did all of them except for 2 or 3, right? So all the rest, we don't need to write any longer. So we may be able
Do that together?
yeah, so we may be able to do it in 2 meetings now.
Okay.
Right? Because we got rid of like 10 or something of them. So
I don't know about that many, but you got rid of some.
well, it was 10.
Not 10.
I'm gonna go back and.
Some of those people have multiple
Oh,
jobs.
they have multiple
Yeah.
jobs. All right, then I take it back.
Nice try.
10 line items, 10 line items.
Nice try.
Wishful thinking.
All the stamps we could have saved.
No stamps.
No stamps.
Oh, they're in.
No charge.
Okay, good.
Uh,
Look at that. Paper.
Oh, you were waiting for Ms. Velez to come for the calendar.
yes, we tabled the calendar because we didn't want to, we wanted you to be here. We
Oh.
did that whole page except for the calendar. So if we
Page
flip
18.
18, thank you.
Thank you.
18, public affairs calendar, 401-20, 406-510, 5,500 requested, 5,500 recommended. Do I have a motion?
So. Second.
Discussion? So the mayor, I believe, had gotten us some costs, correct, Mr. Mayor? On what the actual calendar costs were, or Mr. DeCarlo, one of you?
Yes. The council was, I don't know if you have it tonight, Ms. Witkowski had it on your, on the dais for you a couple nights ago, but I can quickly review it for you.
If you don't mind, thank you.
Yes. So the information we got for 2024 calendars. Postage was $693.06 for the bulk mailing of the calendars out of the Paramus Post Office. The cost for the calendars from Beacon Offset Printing LLC was $5,490, and that was for 3,500 calendars. This equated to $1.56 per calendar for printing. Okay, so I tend to tell you that we're working on a quote, which I'll have. And I said for interest sake, the calendars were approximately $1.52 each in 23, $1.33 each in 22. And then you guys had kind of some questions on how we broke up the expense. So the expense of the $5,490 was broken up between 2 account lines. The first was the trust account for the celebration of public events for $3,690. The control account for the calendar did not have sufficient funds. It's standalone account. It didn't have other sub-accounts to draw from, so I wasn't able to over encumber that line. The remaining $1,800 was taken from the trust account reserved for township calendar. The $1,800 was the amount the township received in advertisements from several companies. So that's why we chose the amount of $1,800. So
Okay.
we actually received $1,900. See how honest I am? We received $100 more, but it came in after we had done the expense for the $1,800.
If we were to print 1,000 calendars for people to come to town hall, that would approximately be let's call it 1,800. We'll leave it at that line then. Right.
So we received a quote.
It'll be
So-
$1,560, but
So we then asked for a quote, so, to give a bunch of, it's going to be this text and this size and this gloss and whatever, but essentially it was for 500 calendars, it's $2,500. For 1,000 calendars, it's $3,000. And for 1,500 calendars, it was $3,550.
wow.
For 500, it was what?
For 500 calendars, it was $2,500.
And we ordered
3,500.
3,500 for 5,000,
5,500.
5,500.
Yeah, so you received more than double for, well, no, bad comparison. Not bad, but
The more you order, the less it costs.
exactly.
You get a volume discount.
Yeah, it wasn't I thought it would be more inexpensive for 500 calendars, but it really wasn't.
Yeah, and that's where all the work is in the setup, and then once
Yeah.
they're printing it. I would just like to add, I heard from a few people, and I'm paraphrasing, so please, they said, we still like to get the calendar for our tax money. We feel it's worthwhile expense to the taxpayers. But, everyone sees the calendar and differently, obviously, but a few people came to me and said, hey, for our tax dollars, we should get a calendar. And again,
I had people-
they meant mailed.
And then I have people saying it goes right into the recycle bin. So
Everyone is different.
that's why I was thinking, we try something different to save costs and, get a certain amount printed and have them available at town hall for pickup. I think that's more than everybody's here. It's a,
If I can just add one more tidbit.
Come pick them up.
what's that?
I don't think they'll probably pick them up.
I think the people that need them will be, I think we can give them out at the, to the senior group. We can hand them, have it done at the meeting. So therefore that would be handled. And then anybody else that would like to pick one up because they like the calendar. The website's great. I understand the mentality that not everybody has access to a computer. So that's why I'm saying do not eliminate it. Just give people the option to come pick it up.
Well, if we're gonna do that, could there be a potential sign up? Like a pre-order, if you will? Could we
To
do?
judge how many to order or to mail to those people.
I think the mailing is an expense that.
To mail, you either have to do bulk or not at all. Because
Correct.
once you get into individual, it changes the whole postage
Correct, it's a
rate.
whole
What is bulk consider? How much is bulk?
Oh, well,
$690.
$690, but that goes down basically.
divided by the 3,300.
It's
we
easy
mail
to
out.
do bulk mailings, but you can't, if you start doing individual, that's gonna
Yeah.
go through the roof.
It's like $2 and something.
Yeah.
It's like a couple bucks.
Yeah. I'm saying if it's in the fall, usually a calendar comes out in February.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If in the fall there was a pre-order,
Mhm.
and that way we have a better number of what we're looking for.
Again,
Just-
one of my concerns with that would be, again, the same audience who likes the paper calendar. How are they going to sign up if they don't like computers to sign up? They have to come to town hall and sign something up.
I like to save money, right? But I think right now, just leave it alone. We can deal with it. We'll figure out a different way. We do it. Again, there's other towns that do it that are not.
Councilor Cassio.
Yes, don't speak. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hello.
Soft spoken. I know other towns do calendars, not as beautiful and elegant as ours, but it's supposed to be information more than anything else.
Mhm.
And,
But that's what we have our great,
No, ours is great.
well.
that's why we have our great webpage. I mean, I think our new web
Yeah.
design is top notch. It really was worth the expense. And I understand that people, don't have access to it, but
I think we can reduce the cost of the calendar, but I think every household should get it. I do.
okay.
That's my opinion. We can.
So why don't we fund it this year and then explore? Maybe that's something you can take on, exploring the calendar, because it does require a lot of work. So maybe Councilman Casio, that's a project, not to tell you, but
I don't volunteer enough.
well,
Listen, I've done a lot of volunteering in this town.
so, well, in terms of the calendar, perhaps. we
Sure,
could do
I will look
something like
into it.
that.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, do we have a motion on the?
We made a motion for the 5,500
Yeah.
and so we're in discussion right now, Mr. Alderman.
Okay.
I believe it was Mr. Sears and Mr.
Councilman
Cass.
Casio and Councilman Sears.
Yeah. I just think I don't mind. I don't use it myself personally because I use the website. It's so much easier.
Well, you
But
can bring yours back and recycle it so somebody else can get that.
There you
calendar.
go.
I was being, if it wasn't
Drop it
already,
in the blue
if
box.
it wasn't already,
From the building.
if it wasn't already out in recycling, I would have done that.
So I know there's a motion at the 55. If it was up to me, I would keep my motion that was made at the last meeting when this was last reviewed, which was 0, because in my opinion, we should do away with the calendar. So that's my feelings on the subject.
Thank you, Mr.
More than happy to.
Is that your motion to make it 0?
No, the motion is 55. So
Yep. All right, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
No.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are we
5,500.
the 5,500? Okay,
Councilman Oman,
no.
Councilwoman Velez,
yes.
Council President DeSena.
No. Would anybody like to make a motion for a different amount?
I would motion to bring it to 0 and basically eliminate the paper calendar.
Eliminate totality.
Correct.
Do you mind if I ask it before you vote on that? May I ask a question? If you approve the 0, I wouldn't be able to pay back the money that I took out of public events. I'm not saying that you don't care, but I just wanted you to know I wouldn't be able to do that. So I guess if you were going to vote 0 and didn't want to move forward, would you be willing to do the 3690 so I could replenish what was taken out of, so I call it public event, celebration of public fair events or whatever, trust, with the understanding that there would be no calendar for January 2025.
Sure. So, and again, as we talk about this, we talk about 5,500, but it's really
Closer to 10,000.
9,100 that we're talking about.
How is that?
Well, because there's 55, but
Well, remember,
It's rolling because of the temp budget doesn't allow us to spend the full, but we have to expend the full 5,500 to get it in the mail for February. So we go through this kind of every year.
so
So it's a rolling.
I understand, but perhaps I didn't understand the numbers that were explained. Where's the 38? So the temp budget doesn't have the 55 in it?
I don't know, there's
No.
a quarter of that.
yeah, it's a quarter of it. So we used
Also, you borrowed 38.
Yeah, but like other seasonal bills we get.
3690 came from celebration of public events. That's what it's called. And then 1,800 came from the,
Donations.
for what they're paying to advertise in the calendar.
So just so I'm right, Mr. Corcoran, this whole calendar costs us about $6,100 a year, and we're getting $1,800 back in donations approximately.
Okay.
No, is that,
Well, that's why I'd appreciate it. If you asked me the question because.
oh, I'm sorry,
Like,
Mr.
so-
Buck.
Okay.
Not that.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if
not
that was a
you
question or
can't answer, but-
statement. I apologize.
It's just, I'm the one that prepared the information, so I like always answering you guys the questions in a wishy-washy because it's not that clear. This year, we took in $1,800. We did have less, what do we call them?
Advertising.
Sponsorship
Sponsorships?
than last year. So that's why, I don't ask for less knowing there's going to be a definite offset amount. Otherwise, I would do that. So we did get less sponsorships. Like I said, at that point in time, it had only totaled 1,800. It was actually 1,900. So again, we'd have to look at the trust to see how much was left in there. I don't think it's very much, maybe a little bit north of $500 or $600. So that's why I borrowed the $3,690 from the celebration of public events. And then the bulk mailing, I don't know that I can necessarily attribute it all to the calendars, but essentially it is. But that's what it costs for us to have that bulk mailing. I don't
Yeah,
want
mail the town at $693.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would not, so the celebrations account is not shortchanged because of the accounting gyrations. Whatever that number is required to make it whole, I would motion for that. I mean, I don't know.
Doesn't have this select year.
But we wouldn't
have a 25.
we wouldn't have a 25.
I mean, because in theory, it comes out 2 months late, which is a lot of work to do in 2 months. So it's really a 10-month calendar for, $5,500.
No, it's not, January. It's a 13-month calendar.
Yeah, so John.
It's a 13,
I
and the
know.
reason why it's because it's you guys. And when you do your scheduling, and once you do your scheduling.
I know, but that's,
it's
it's just,
So there.
So there, I played my case.
Peter,
Somebody come in today with.
just to pick your memory, didn't we, like, probably 8 years ago, we talked about funding it for the year ahead of time? Didn't we do that one year? We funded it so we had the money
to do it in
to do it 1 year ahead. So that was,
Yeah, I mean,
You remember
I can't say
before?
this. I know we've had that discussion on certain accounts. This could have very
but I
well
thought
been.
that was one that we
Where-
did,
where
at that
maybe
time
not.
where we had it, because so we
We
wouldn't have to
encumber the
wait.
money if it was
until-
fully funded to spend into the
Yeah, no,
following
no.
year.
So we'd have it at the
Yeah.
end of December
Right.
in the,
Yeah.
we'll call
But
it
it would encumber it in
2024
December
thing,
for the
so it
next
goes
year.
out for 25.
3 months.
That's what we did I know we did that at least once with Mayor Sopowitz, and I think
Yeah.
we did once.
I know we spoke different.
Maybe it's something maybe a little modified from that, but we can't use 1 year's money for something that's totally in the next year.
But if you print it,
Well, I'm gonna say, since there's a trust
Yeah, I
account,
mean,
maybe
there's-
we fund the trust account. I don't know how we got away from that.
Yeah, that was-
Because that can
that-
save
we did
years.
something,
Yeah.
something like that, because we had, it was available.
Right.
But how are we
Exactly
gonna put the following year's council meetings on
Yeah,
it?
because you don't know the dates and stuff, so it'd be
Until the
almost.
reorg.
That, well, the
Well,
That's what we wait.
the,
That's why it doesn't come out until February.
Correct.
Correct.
That's one of the reasons.
Yeah, it's all the
but
boards.
some of that stuff wasn't on the calendar at that time. The meetings were.
I know, but right now,
But
that's what
there is-
people, that's what you're saying people want, is to know the dates.
But I'm just telling you, that's.
Recycling.
what-
Garbage,
Right.
bulk pickup.
All right, so there's a motion to move it to zero from Mr. Allman, correct, Mr. Allman?
Yes,
Any second?
To not fund next year's calendar, there would be a funding request to make whole
The other line.
the other line.
So zero for this line,
3690.
3690 for the other line
To reimburse public.
to reimburse public affairs
okay,
and eliminate the
the calendar for
calendar.
2025. I'll second that motion. Roll call?
Councilman Cassio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
No,
Councilman Oman,
Yes,
Councilwoman Velez,
I think that's a bad move. There should be a compromise. The answer is no.
Thank you.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Do we know what that other line item? I'd rather do that line now, so this way we don't forget it.
Which one's that,
So
sir?
where the 3690's got to go?
Oh, it's right there.
Is it the next line?
No, you funded that one with 3690. Did you just vote on 0 or 36?
Zero.
They voted on 0, but the.
We're gonna add 3690. We're gonna go back to the other line and put 3690.
To not do a transfer, they're just going to refund public affairs.
So where's that one?
We'll put that.
No, it was a trust. It was a trust line. So I was going to do an accounting thing where, you were going to
Oh,
properly, well, again, that sounds too accusatory. The hopes was that the calendar line was going to be funded with 3690, well, 5,500, but the second best option was 3690. You fund that. Then once we did that, we would just make, John, what would you call that? The journal entry
Basically, it'd be a bank transfer if
A
you want
bank
to use the trust
transfer.
line. Yeah.
to go from current back to trust. That way,
Right.
that would make everything whole. I'm sorry if I confused the process there, but that's what I was,
I can understand if that's how the paper trail came out of the account to put it back into the account.
yes.
That way, when someone looks at it next year, there's a full paper trail.
Okay, so 3690,
We just passed it to zero.
I understand that, but the motion that I made,
Was to put 3690 in the other account.
yes, and I believe what Mr. DiCarlo and Mr. Corcoran are saying is it has to go back into this line
Okay.
and then they will.
Is that
move it-
correct, Mr. DiCarlo, Mr. Parker?
Which line were you thinking that you wanted to fund with 3690?
We were gonna put it back into that celebrations.
But it came from
But you were talking about a current line. I was talking about a
a
trust
trust,
line.
right?
So is there a public
I don't
affairs?
think we could put it directly into trust, can we?
No, you can't. I don't, it doesn't matter where you put it. It was just going to be cleaner, at least in my brain.
So let's just
If you
make
put it
another
in
motion to
calendar.
make this one 3690, that's all.
But I didn't know that you were talking about another line. So my apologies.
I thought there was another
Operating line.
operating line that you borrowed it from.
No, I'm sorry. It was a trust.
Okay,
My,
All right,
so then,
sorry for confusing it if I did.
So the new motion is to make 40220, 406-510, $3,690 requested, $3,690 recommended to reimburse the trust fund, right?
I'm not willing to change my recommend.
Okay, so not the 3690 is the new motion for 40120, 406-510.
Would you gentlemen be open to at least funding half the calendar, the 1,500 for the 35? So at least we can offer some of our residents a calendar? I mean, I understand that if the town is split 50-50, some throw it in the recycling, some want it, then let's at least satisfy some of our residents.
Sorry. And also, if you do that, we will have the sponsorship money, hopefully to offset some of that cost.
Correct. So if it 3,500 for 1,500 calendars, correct? Is that the number you gave us? I'm sorry, Mr. DeCarlo.
Yep.
And then the sponsorship,
Yes, 3,500 for 1,500.
Yes, 3550.
I mean,
Then leave it at 5,500 and that's whatever's there is there.
and then, so we'll take from the 5,500, we'll reimburse public affairs, that trust.
Mhm.
And then the rest will be used for the calendar.
We'll print however many that allows us to print the difference in the dollars.
Is everybody okay with that?
So at least we give some of our residents, because it's clear that some do want the calendar.
But we're not,
No,
I don't want it mailed.
No.
I want it to be
To pick up,
Yeah.
but at least we have,
1,500 of them here.
it's an option. I mean, let's
It's a
think
good way to
about,
gauge for next year.
Yeah.
we can use it as a pilot.
I'll second your motion.
Roll call, $5,500 for 0120406510.
Right, so, Councilman.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Trying to bust.
Councilman Calcio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
No,
Councilman Ullman,
Yes,
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes,
and Council President DeSena.
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
Didn't even notice the time.
You can get a little-
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. When's that next?
Good night.